Welcome to Sorted Out SIFC, the series where we're going to go through the process of building a club up from absolutely nothing into world beaters. Caveat, depends how long the save goes on for. So, if you follow us over on the Sorted Out SI channel here on YouTube, we recently did a video creating your own club on FM24, where we created Sorted Out SIFC, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but you get the general gist of it. Now, in this series, I'm going to show you how I'm going to formulate a club from absolutely nothing. They've got no staff apart from me, no players at all in the club, and we're just going to see if we can survive in League 2, because that's where I've dropped them in, if you followed along on the last video. So a few things I've done since that video. I've gone back into the data editor, set up a few kits, just to make it a little bit less like the basic kit. I also corrected a spelling mistake, where I changed, well, basically I didn't spell Sort It Out SI correctly in the short version of the name, but everything else is the same. We're still ground sharing Brisbane Road with Leyton Orient. There's still absolutely no one else in the staff, apart from me, the chairman, who's now got a different name, because the game started again, and Chief Doctor, and then the playing squad is just a load of greyed out names, so no real players either. So the first thing I am going to do is set a formation, very vague formation. I've got an idea of a 3-4-2-1, which should hopefully be okay. And then we're going to try and find a couple of key staff members, so an assistant manager and a chief scout. Then we're going to get some players in on trial, wait for those staff members to come in and get some more players in on trial, and hopefully start signing a few players to fill out the squad. We have got some finances to do that. There's a transfer budget of 250k, which I don't really want to touch, because I don't really think you need to spend money on players in League 2. But if we need to, we have the funds there. We've also got a wage budget of 50k per week, which hopefully is going to be more than we actually need. But for a 25-man squad, that gives us a little bit of wiggle room to get roughly, on average, 2k a week on players. Some will be more than that, some will be less than that. We will see. Right, so first things first, let's make a quick tactic. We're going to go control possession, and as I said, 3 at the back, quite a few in midfield, and just hope for the best. We'll start with that 3-4-3, and then just move 2 of these strikers down here into, if I can get them, into the attacking midfielder area of the pitch. There we go. Brilliant. Takes a couple of clicks. But I think we want a target forward on support, supported by a couple of shadow strikers. So obviously, I like that role. We could go with Trek or Tweesters there as well, if I could say it correctly. But that's what we're going to go with for the time being. Depending on the playing staff we get in, will obviously depend on whether these roles stay or whether we change them and adjust the formation a little bit. Going to go with a couple of wide centre-backs on support. Wingers on both sides, one on attack, one on support. We'll go that way round for now. We will see. We want one of the central defenders to be defensive, maybe a deep-lying playmaker, and then on the other side, a box-to-box on support. So we've got a nice array of support, attack, and defence mentalities. We're going to have a mentality overall of cautious, because generally when we get to league games, we're going to be a bit naff. So we don't want to be on the offensive too much. Right, that's the tactic sorted. We'll go into the staff search, and what I could do is put out a job centre advert and try and go that way, but I think that's going to take too long. If you look at the schedule, we've got pre-season games starting very, very soon. If that friendly proposal gets accepted, we're going to have a game in 3 days. So I don't think we're going to get an assistant manager in using an advert, because it'll take a couple of weeks. So we're going to have to do the old-fashioned way of staff search. And one thing I've added here before doing anything is just adding in the world reputation, because I have a feeling that not many members of staff with decent reputations are going to want to actually join us. So we'll go for the assistant manager first. We want unemployed assistant managers. Unfortunately, you can't set it as a maximum world reputation, just a minimum. So we just have to leave it to everyone and then go for the attributes for an assistant manager. I'm going to be realistic and say 12 is probably the bare maximum. That's the wrong way around, that we can get there. If we sort by world reputation, this guy here at half a star is probably about all we're going to get to, but he doesn't look like he's English. No, he's Mexican, so probably, in fact, no, I'll wait for him in a second. This guy has an English-looking name. He's American, though. So maybe he's not going to want to join us. If we look at his attributes, though, 12, 13, 14 on the assistant manager ones we're looking at. This guy, Remy, used to be at Blackburn Rovers under Yondal Thomason. He's good, but again, I don't think he's going to want to join us. Quickly approach to sign. No, he doesn't. That's kind of suggesting that one-star reputation guys are unlikely to want to join us. Let's have a look at John Hark, see if he wants to. Probably not, no. Not currently interested in discussing with our club. What about this Mexican guy, half a star? Or are we going to have to bump down our attributes? Yes, we are, because he doesn't want to join us either. Okay, so that means we have to drop this down to 11 and probably add condition of nationality English just to sort of thin the field out a little bit more. What about Richard O'Kelly? You don't sound English, but see if you want to join us. 11, 11, and 14. That's not bad. Okay, he's interested. 1 second, Richard. I wasn't expecting him to say yes. 11, 11, 11. Okay, so Richard is the better one of the 1-star guys who will potentially be assistant managers. Let's have a look and see if we can get him as an assistant. He wants a lot of money as a coach, so I'm going to suggest he's probably not going to want that. He's not going to want to sign for that little money, I'm going to say. £900 a week, let's try it. Oh, 1.2, okay, I was expecting the bump up from coach to assistant manager to be more. £1,000 a week on assistant manager is a doable. Let's see if we can tease him down. 1.1, okay, we're close. Try one more time. And he's accepted. Okay, that was a rough... Because he's on his own and not got an agent, I can't really see a patience meter, so I thought he was going to walk out on that one. But we've got him for 1k a week. That's good. Let's try and get a chief scout in as well quickly. Well, as we look at recruitment, scout, pick the attributes to be for a chief scout. We'll probably have to go for 11 again. Neil Howarth. Okay, we want 1-star ones. The Ross Embleton, he was in the assistant manager search as well. He could be a good chief scout. Let's have a look if we've got anyone else who might be. Joe McLaren, he's... Oh, okay, he might be a good shout. Let's keep Joe McLaren as our number 1 choice so far. What about Eric Avin? Oh, 20 adaptability. That's not bad. 64, he's got 12 and 11. What was Joe's? Was his 12 and 13? Okay, so Joe is still our lead choice here. 11 and 11 for Ross. I could change. 15 and 14 for Martin Hinshelwood. Okay, he, former chief scout at Portsmouth, he's now our lead option. Harry Croft, hang on, for scout. 12 and 15 again. Okay, he might be available for less. Used to be a recruitment analyst, if I could speak, at Derby. Okay, and Neil, how about you? No, you're not going to be good enough. Right, Harry Croft, see if you want to be our new chief scout. He's got 12 and 15 as our key scouting attributes and adaptability of 15 as well. Please, he does want to. Okay, we don't want you as a recruitment analyst. We want you as our chief scout. £400 a week, please. Do you reckon he'll say yes? I don't think he will, but we'll see. Oh, he did. Okay, excellent. New chief scouting for £400 a week. Our 2 key members of staff for less than 1.5k. Brilliant. Okay, we have got those in. Before those 2 members of staff come in, we're going to do a little bit of a... suggest some transfer targets from our chairman, who's got a new gen face apparently because we've installed that in the past and not changed the config file. Excellent. We're going to request a director of football suggestion. If you don't have a director of football, it will default to your assistant manager. If you don't have one of them, it'll go to the chairperson. The suggestions might not be fantastic, but we're going to do them anyway. And if you've not been on this screen before, you can have either a transfer, loan, end of contract, or free transfer suggestions, and basically select a role or a position you are looking on. So we want a target forward striker, free transfer. Let's see who he throws up. These guys all look foreign and old, which is probably not going to work very well for a lower league English side. You, too old, and Czech, and Chilean, Laurent Tolage. He's played in Scotland and in the league we are currently in before, so he might be a good option. I'm going to offer him a trial at 4 weeks just to fill out pre-season, and we'll see whether we actually get him going further forward. The other 2 guys, too old and never been in England before, suggesting that that's not going to work. Okay, we'll clear those ones off and go through some more positions. Sweeper, keeper, goalkeepers. There's a couple of English-sounding names in here as well. Owen Evans, he's Welsh, of course, Welsh. Also sounds a little bit like English. We'll offer him a trial probably. Yeah, he's Australian. He's been in England though, that's fine. Jack Rose. Yeah, okay, what I'm going to do, I've just realised I've not... do that one again because I clicked transfer and not free transfer, and whilst we have got the transfer budget in, I want to actually wait until we've got some players before we can start actually spending money. He is 40 and from the Czech Republic. Probably, no, he did play at Fulham 8 games and West Ham in their squad, but that's, no, we're too old. He is younger, 28, recently at Huddersfield. Let's go for a trial here. Can we transfer off a trial 4 weeks? Yes, okay, Jordan Smith and Radu Michu, again Moldovan, never been in England before, so we're not going to start now. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through position by position, get a load of trials in. When the new staff come in as well, we'll be able to see whether those trials are any good and hopefully work our way through pre-season and get to the point of the first league game of the season, which is away at Swindon, which is going to be fun, I'm sure. 5th of August, that's when we'll come back. We'll probably drop in once or twice during the pre-season as well to see how transfers are getting on. If I need to start actually spending some money, we will see how we get on. But I'm going to start doing the trial process now. We'll have a look at the squad when we've got about 20 players on trial and see how things develop. Okay, just dropping back in. We are about to play our first pre-season game. We've got a squad now of, let's have a look how many players. I think we've got about 18, is that right? 19 players. I don't want to play him in goal. Removed from position. And we've also brought in a couple of members of staff, the two we approached before, so Richard O'Kelly and Harry Croft as our assistant manager and chief scout. So that means we now have a view of how good these players are compared to themselves. So they've ranked by ability and potential in their star rating, but also a 4-star means a good EFL League 2 player in this instance. So we've got some players who are probably going to be okay for the level we're looking at. But what we're going to do is obviously get through a few games in pre-season, move forward a little bit through July before we start making any concrete offers to players and bringing players in. And we'll see how we can form up. If we do a quick pick for our first match day squad, we can see on the tactics page we've got those players right there. That is going to be our 11 for the first game against Kidderminster, which kicks off in 5 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 5.5 hours. And then we'll see how we get on going through and hopefully manage to just about get ourselves a squad ready for the first game of the season. Okay, then we are now at the beginning of the League 2 season, and we've had a pre-season where we've managed to fill out a 25-man squad, so that's achievement number 1. We've also filled out our backroom staff and had some mixed results over pre-season. We'll go through it all now before we get to the first game of the season against Swindon, and we'll go through some of the decisions made to sort of build out the squad. So as I've said, we've filled out that 25-man squad here. We've got 2 goalkeepers, about 10 defenders, 3 or 4 out-and-out strikers, and then the balance of that, which is 9, if my maths is correct, midfielders. So you can kind of see the balance we've got across the squad. So a couple of those defenders can play in midfield, a couple of the midfielders can play in defence, but that's sort of the balance we've got. We'll start out just with the tactic that we've obviously got in place. This is still the 3-4-2-1 tactic that we had at the beginning of the pre-season. We've not made any massive changes to it. Some of our strikers don't quite fit in the target forwards role, but we can change that and tweak that a little bit more as we go through with the rest of the season, I guess, and having all the different strikers in there, see if the different roles work out slightly better. So looking at the squad planner, those 2 goalkeepers are pretty much like for like. They're both equals. I've got agreed playing time of important player and star player, and the slightly worse one, according to the star rating at least, is a star player, but they are very much equals in terms of who is going to be our number 1. We're going to basically be switching throughout the season, have a rotation policy until one of them really takes the mantle to become the number 1 goalkeeper. In terms of defence, as I said, we've got 9 or 10 defenders who are all in and around the squad. Probably out of those, we've got 3 first choice here, so we've gone for a mix of veterans and youngsters, basically trying to get most of the players who can sort of either fill that slightly more experienced role, have done it before, or young and got the ability to improve. So there's Andre Wisdom and Dimitriov, who are a bit more experienced. And then we've got a youngster here in Sam McClellan from Northern Ireland, who hasn't quite got the experience. He's played with Barrow in League 2 on loan last season from Chelsea, so he's got that bit of experience and he's younger, can hopefully improve as well as we go through. And then you can see we've got a couple of people on loan as well. We've got a defender on loan from Wolves, I believe. Yep, Cam Condola on loan from Wolves. And then we've also got a midfielder on loan as well. I think we've got 3 loans in total across the 25-man squad. But we kind of built it up. We've kind of got enough depth. In defence, definitely got enough depth of 10 players going across 3 positions. Goalkeeping, 2 for 1 is kind of enough. But we have got the ability to bring a goalkeeper in at any point during the season. They don't need to be in the registration window. So if we do have a couple of injuries to goalkeepers, we have got that flexibility to bring someone in League 2 at least. Across the midfield, centre of the park, we've got quite a decent amount of coverage in the 4 central positions, sort of 6 who can play in the attacking mid, 7 who can play midfield, and obviously some overlap between those as well. But it's the wings where we've got that little bit of a depth issue. We've only got 2 players who can play left midfield. 17-year-old Riley Owen, possibly star for the future. He's definitely an exciting prospect. And on the right, it's a similar sort of situation. We're bringing a loan in to get essentially anyone who's worth anything on that right side of midfield. But they're the kind of two areas I'm a little bit worried about. I'm not sure whether to bring them back as wing backs and see if we can fill out a bit more of a defensive role. But if we see that we need to do that in the future, obviously that is an option. And then going forward, strikers, we've got 3. I'm sure there's a 4th who's not on the squad planner as well, who we've recently just signed. But this is all obviously role ability to target forward. If we change it from a target forward, Mothersill and Cassidy get a little bit better as well. But we've only got young strikers at the moment, the oldest being 22. So there's a little bit of a experience gap potentially up front. And if we look here, who is it? It's we've got Jamie Thomas here, who we have recently just signed as well. Obviously, everyone's recently just signed, but he's an attacking midfielder, can play a striker as well, so he's got that bit of backup. Same with Gamble, he can play up front as well. So there's more coverage up front than the squad planner suggests. But there we go. We've got a 25-man squad, plenty of ability. If we look at the highest ability in the squad, good League 2 player. We've got plenty of people who are listed as a good League 2 player, decent League 2 player. And then if we sort of get down to the middle of the squad, the 3 stars, leading National League. So we are probably a lower half on ability of League 2, but we'll see what the season preview looks like. We might as well see what the season preview looks like now. I believe it's got us as about 20th place. Yeah, we're still 20th place, but our odds have dropped from 100 to 50, so that's good. So as we built the squad throughout pre-season, that's got better and better and better, which is obviously saying we've bought some good players to bring into the squad and are slowly filling things out. And hopefully, as we can build on through the season, maybe have a good January window as well and start making it look like we're a bit more of a challenger for potentially playoffs, but mid-table is where we're aiming for in this first season. Moving through to look at the staff now. We've filled out our staff pretty much. We've got coaching team in. The one area of weakness is goalkeeping coaching. I've got a specific goalkeeper coach at the moment, but our goalkeepers are strong, so it's not a massive issue so far. But we are leading in some areas of coaching and pretty high up in others. But it's the recruitment and the medical side of things where we are either leading or second or third in the league. Mainly looking so low compared to the highest because of Wrexham. So that's why we are second in both metrics on the medical team. Oh no, sorry, second and fourth on the medical team, but it's Wrexham that are basically far too high for everyone else. But yeah, we've got a good filled out staff, good filled out squad. Season preview suggesting we're doing okay. We're going to hopefully survive anyway. Pre-season itself was not too bad. 3 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. So we filled out our schedule, pretty much playing 2 games a week for the whole month of July, just to get a bit of a feel for the squad and have an idea of what we can do. A big win against Met Police, obviously, and Macclesfield. Have 2 big wins, and really the defeats to Charlton and Torquay, kind of to be expected, to be honest. Torquay, obviously, a couple of leagues below us, so potentially an issue, but we were away, and I think we were the better side, if I'm remembering that game correctly. But anyway, that is kind of pre-season covered. League 2 season preview covered. We're going to now, hopefully, go into our first game of the season, but we need to basically decide the squad. So I'm going to do that, and then in our next episode, we'll have game number 1, which I believe is away at Swindon Town at the County Ground. So if you've enjoyed this first look at how to build the squad from nothing for Sort It Out SIFC, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. Check out more content here and on the Sort It Out SI channel as well. And I'll be back with our first game of the season against Swindon Town, and hopefully we'll do okay. We've got Leyton Orient in the cup as well, so that'll be a clash of ground sharing teams. See you next time. Thanks for watching.